Hey guys, has this ever happened to you? Got a clutch cover for a chainsaw and you can't get it on. It isn't going. What's going on? Well, most of the time it's because you set the chain brake, you clicked it forward, and then you took off the clutch cover. And this stainless steel band in here is now shrunk down, and you're never going to get it over the clutch drum. Not going to happen. So, here's what you do. There's a number of options on how to fix this. Number one, if you're like me, you got an extra chain brake handle. What you do is you find the spot in here, you grab it, and you go pull it back, and you go click. Done. There it is. Now this will go on. Perfect. Okay, but if you don't have that, let's explore some other options. Let's assume you don't have an extra handle. What do? Easiest thing, remove this handle. A screw here, a screw on the other side, and a spring here. Let's do that. So this is a Husqvarna 350, so it happens to have a 4mm Allen here. Kind of a funky looking bolt. On the other side, same thing. One, two. Now this comes off nice and easy, but you do want to be careful because there's a spring here. And this spring will have a tendency to go flying across the room. So, in case that does happen, this is just in there by hand. If you want to put it back, spring in, and basically goes in with thumb pressure. Just leave that in there. Anyway, so now you can grab your chain brake handle and unset it and set it as you like. Good to go. Alright, what if you don't want to do that? How about another option? There is a three-way thing here. I don't even know what to call this, but it mates up with a 3-prong piece here. You can't use a 2-prong socket like that. It's not going to work. How about a 3-prong? Now I happen to grind this out of an old socket. Let's see if this works. Now I'm going to do the equivalent of pushing the handle forward and setting the chain brake. Pop. Okay. Now let's see if we can get it to go the other way. Again, you just grind a socket, a 3-way socket that'll fit here. Pretty much any socket size that goes in here should fit. Haven't tried this yet, so don't know if this works. Let's see. Yep. That works perfectly. So let's say you don't want to grind your own socket. And by the way, if anybody needs help grinding one of these, there's no real instructions for it. You get a socket that fits in here, and you take your angle grinder and grind on it. That's all. So you don't need to make it as deep as this one. The cut doesn't need to be as deep. This I actually made as a clutch tool, so I believe a real clutch tool will actually work here as well. This is a clutch tool for, I believe, a 262 XP. It might actually work for other saws too. So some of the clutch tools will actually work for this. Now, let's say you don't want to grind on a socket. You've only got perfectly good sockets. You don't want to waste one. Well, you can actually do it to a scrench. You can use one of these It's actually probably a little bit easier to grind on these because they're thinner. But these work too. Now, this is probably the one that came with your saw, and it's a little on the puny side. So, get a bigger one. This one actually comes from HL Supply. It's nice and long here, nice long lever arm. Not very expensive. So, no harm in having extras of these around. So if you're going to order from HL Supply, make sure you order one of these too. I'll leave a link for one of these down in the description, and you can purchase them from HL Supply. There are other videos on the internet on how to actually grind on these, so I don't think I need to show that. Anybody that's watching the video, I'm sure, has a way to work on this. You can either use a Dremel tool works, or an angle grinder. Just be careful when you do that. And you don't need to grind very much away. You just need to grind, an 1/8 of an inch, 3/16 away, just so it sits down in there. So let's say you don't want to grind on your scrench. Is there anything else you can do? Let's do one other thing. So let's say this is popped, which it is, and you can't get it on. Sometimes you can put this nut on far enough, push this forward, you have to put these on pretty tight. Don't break anything, but you're going to have to put these on pretty tight. Sometimes this works. So put these on tight. Make sure you hold this in. And you can pop it like that. And take these off. So the problem with that is you can ruin things doing that. Make sure you're really careful if you try that particular method, because what happens is this three-way piece here is not fully seating in here, which means it can slip. And slip means that the metal is going to wear out the plastic, which is right here. So, and then if you wear it out enough, then you're going to have to throw this piece away, which we don't want to do. All I do is to kind of save the whole thing here. Don't know if you can see it, but you can start ruining this mechanism on your chain brake handle. You want to be real careful about trying to put the clutch cover on and resetting it like that. You can see I've kind of already worn this a little bit by doing that. Some saws have more play than others there. This one does not have a lot. So of course all of this does beg the question, how do you remove a clutch cover properly? If you want to replace the chain, if you want to service your clutch, whatever you're doing here, how do you do it? Well, one thing you should be doing is you should be using the chain brake fairly often. And by the way, if you're running the saw, you don't want to use the chain brake with this hand. You want to use it with this hand here. So sometimes you can knock it with your wrist, you can knock it with this hand. Either way, if you use it with this hand and you slip, you're going to get the blade. So don't do that. So for whatever reason, if this is set, which it should be, if you're using the chain brake, which you should be doing, for safety reasons, then how do you remove the chain brake cover? Well, with a clutch cover. So undo this first, loosen the nuts, just so they're gently loose, and then the next thing to do is back off the chain tensioner screw a couple of turns, just so this is a little on the looser side. This should be really freely mobile. And by the way, if this isn't mobile and you go back like this, you're going to cut your finger. So gloves is a good idea. Anyway, this should be freely mobile. this should be back. Now what you do, remove your screws. 1, 2, and the clutch cover will come off nice and easy. And once that clutch cover is off, you service whatever you need to do, new chain, whatever you're doing here, and then this will go back on nice and easy. Now there are other configurations for chainsaws, including ones that only have a single nut, auto tensioners, all that stuff. I'm not going to cover that, but that is for many models of chainsaw the way that you do it. Hope you like this video. Some simple solutions on how to fix this. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.